All right, we'll now call the order the regular meeting for Thursday, March 20th, 2025. We'll have the invocation and pledge by Ms. Eason, please.
Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to gather this evening to serve the people of Calcasieu Parish. We ask you for insight, understanding, and wisdom to make decisions that honor you. Strengthen us and guide us in every choice we make. Give us compassion to serve with kindness and patience, even in the face of adversity. May our service reflect your love, mercy, and justice, and may we feel your presence among us, guiding and sustaining us. We ask these things in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Eason. Ms. Wallace, roll call.
Mr. Abshire?
Here.
Mr. Andrew
Here.
Mr. Barty?
Here.
Mr. Bowers?
Here.
Mr. Burley?
Here.
Ms. Eason?
Here.
Mr. Guillory?
Here.
Mr. Hayes is unable to attend. Mr. Landry?
Here.
Mr. Lewis?
Here.
Mr. Marcantel is unable to attend. Mr. Quinn?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Stelly?
Here.
President Barris?
Go Pokes. All right, item number 1A, recognition of the retirement of Mr. Brian C. Beam, Parish Administrator, following more than 30 years of service. Do I do this from here? Go ahead. I'm going to be brief. Don't breathe. It's okay.
Nervous about McNeese winning.
Okay, yeah. You know, there's a Married with Children quote. Peggy Bundy comes in from shopping, and Al's sitting on the couch, and she's like, "Hi, Al. Did you miss me?" And he's like, "With every bullet so far." So I don't think anybody here is going to say that about you, but we're going to miss you. We're going to miss you, and not, with any firearms. But it's been pretty neat following you. I've been here 9 years, and all the things that we've been through, and I think I can speak for all of us that we all take something from you every day, and I appreciate your service. I appreciate knowing you. Next, let's see. Got a couple gifts for you.
Probably ought to wait to the end of the meeting before you give him the gifts. He may leave.
Say what?
But you might want to wait to give him the gifts till the end. He might leave us.
No, he's got a couple more days.
Oh, okay.
So here's a certificate of appreciation presented to the Calcasieu Parish by the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury on this 20th day of March 2025, Mr. Brian C. Beam, Parish Administrator, in recognition and appreciation of 30-plus years of service to the citizens of Calcasieu Parish. Congratulations and best wishes on your retirement. And it's signed by the whole gang.
Thank you.
Looky here, the Eagle Award. Oh, another one.
That's a nice one. Oh, you laying all that?
Brian, is that one left over every year you should be doing?
Right. Okay, well, I can't hold both, but I'll hold one.
Oh.
Wes, I know it's a bad backdrop. Why don't we put it off to the side?
It's like you pull it and the Batmobile comes around.
Put this.
Put it on the hood.
put it somewhere else, maybe up here in the front.
I'll now open the floor for comments from the jury. Oh, okay, let's go. Let's just go like that.
Okay.
Okay. Brian, I've had the pleasure of working with you for quite some time now. I know you were a little bit concerned with me when I joined the jury. You didn't know what to expect. But I hope it was all a pleasant experience. I know mine was. You've provided some amazing leadership and guidance, especially through the disasters that we've had to navigate over the past few years. And I appreciate everything that you've done for me and the jury, and especially the way you treat administration and the employees and directors of the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury. So I wish you the best. I'll say some prayers for Edith since he'll be home. But all the best to you and the family.
You know, Brian, short-term police you are, but when I met you years back, your approachability was in. You put people at ease. You put people at ease now, and I've enjoyed working with you on the jury, and I've enjoyed working with you before I came on the jury. And like I said, your calmness. One thing that stands out, I know you got picked at your retirement party about strategic plans. I will say you do a very good job in presenting those. But back to your retirement party, the attendance and the cross-section of people speaks well to you and your family. And I wish you all the best. You certainly earned it. And all the whatever you want to undertake, I know you'll do well and enjoy life. God bless you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Brian. Man, I'm like Joe, only 5 years on this jury, but you made me feel like I knew something. So I thank you for that. Thank you for your service. And you know, for those that didn't know, Brian was recognized the other Saturday at Burton Coliseum, doing the top 28. So Brian, I had a chance of being there. And you know what I thought about was the very first time I met Brian was on a basketball court.
That's right.
So it was only fitting that I got a chance to see you on the basketball court the other day being recognized.
That's right.
And just like I said, man, you were a good basketball player, but I think you were a better parish administrator. So thank you, man, and it was just always good working with you.
Thank you. Same here.
Brian, I know this is, I've only been on the jury for a few months. I think his first Thursday in December was when I was sworn in, and I found out the next week you were retiring, so I thought it was something I said or I did, and I'm sorry if that was the case. All jokes aside, you've done a great job. Your reputation around here is great. You have tons of people that love and appreciate you. Your staff is fantastic. You guys have all welcomed me on with open arms and been there for anything that I needed, so I appreciate it, and I wish you the best in retirement, my brother.
Appreciate it.
Ron, it doesn't matter where we go, and especially in the state of Louisiana, people hold Calcasieu Parish very high, and that's because of our leader. You surrounded yourself with some very strong people. You're leaving us in good hands, but it wouldn't happen without your leadership, and that's with any team, and appreciate you.
Thank you so much, man.
Brian, I've known you a very long time.
Yeah.
But I've only been on the jury here for a little over a year. But the main thing I've discovered as an active juror is that the police jury is primarily responsible for quality of life in Calcasieu Parish, and a lot of that is due to your leadership and the staff that you have. They all serve with great integrity, and that comes straight from the top. I appreciate your commitment. I appreciate your dedication to the parish and the people of Calcasieu Parish, and I wish you well in your retirement.
Well, Brian, I'm definitely going to miss you. I thank you for your service, and as always, I've always talked to you. I felt you're a very, very intelligent person, and I always say you're a fountain of information. And I kind of figured, well, what would you do if you're not working with the parish? So you're going to have a lot of spare time on your hand, and I know Edith's going to really, really enjoy having you home for a little while. But I wish you all the best, and congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you, Mike, and I'm sorry Epps took so long. But
Okay. Well, I definitely will invite you for the actual for the grand opening. Thank you.
Brian, 17 years you've been in my life. I can't keep a woman that long.
That's a good one.
I can't keep them 17 days, Brian. Brian, but you've been great. You've been great. I just want to say thank you, Brian, for everything. Thank you, Tony.
Can't top that one, Chris.
There was a lot of truth that was just I was going to correct you on that 17 years, but you did it yourself. I've seen him in action for a long time. It's something to see. We won't go into that. This is a G-rated event. I thought back a few minutes ago, back whenever, before you became administrator, you had been here for a long time, and I remember Mark McMurray, I don't know how many times he told me this, he was like, well, you know, Brian's way smarter than I am. He would say that all the time, and which was a compliment, because, I mean, Mark's a smart guy himself. But you've done a great job, and I think one thing about you is that you're smart and you do a good job, but you care. You know, you really do. He cares about the parish and the people that work here, and that makes a big difference in the way that you go about things. And you're good at thinking things out too. There's not going to be a fast decision. He thinks things over, but I can tell you, he hadn't made very many mistakes. You know, sometimes you just make those quick decisions, you're a lot more likely to make a mistake, and that's not Brian. I told you a few weeks ago, one thing, if you get bored, I think possibly, and I know you like to write, you could be the Jim Beam 2.0. Then I could read you every morning in the newspaper.
Thank you.
But wait until your dad says it's okay, obviously. We don't want him to quit anytime soon. But we wish you luck. Hope you and Edith enjoy yourselves and maybe travel a little bit or whatever you want to do.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah. Enjoyed serving with you.
Well, I was always nervous, Brian, when I came, so you always stayed calm. So you always made me calm. So I know you're going off and wish you well in your your retirement.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you.
Well, I remember back, it was 2006, I think, when I first met Brian. I was just back from Iraq, and the Army said, well, go work for FEMA for a couple weeks and be the liaison to the parish. And so that's where we were introduced. And so I've kind of worked with you on a lot of projects from that point back in those days. And then we've gone through some things where I disagreed with you. And, you know, I've learned not to disagree with Brian because he's probably right. He's been very calm and a very good counsel on a lot of issues throughout my time working on things throughout the parish, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the your knowledge and the way you handle things. It's been a pleasure to work with you, even through the disagreements. So I appreciate that, and good luck to you both.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Brian, for what you've done for me especially. You know, when you help us, it helps us help the people we represent, and I think you've done a really, really good job with that. And I think you've been a good leader for your employees and everybody. But I just have one question for you. Did you really order a zero-turn lawnmower?
No, I drove Danes almost into a tree when he let me try it. So. Set me up. That's good.
Very good. Okay, now we've got some special guests. We're going to call up first the well-rested and sun-kissed Sheriff Tony Mancuso. he started getting up. He knew what I was saying.
Brian, I want to say congratulations. It's a good gig being retired, I promise you. I'm going to disagree with one thing everybody said. I have seen him when he wasn't calm. We have been through some really tough times. We really have. And I'm going to tell you, they have said everything. I respect you, your honesty, your integrity. We did go through some tough times, and we had our disagreements, but I can tell you, you always put your employees and the staff first and the parish first, and that's what matters. And so I wanted to tell you from the bottom of my heart, I respect you. Congratulations. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I do, because I do. I love it, and it's a great feeling to go to bed at night, not have the phone ring and the pressure that you have. I sleep really good at night now. So thank you. I appreciate it. I know the staff is going to miss you and that honesty and integrity, but I know you're leaving it in good hands as I did. So congratulations, and look forward to the next chapter for you. Take care.
Next, Mayor of Lake Charles, Mayor Nick Hunter.
I got a whole production, I'm sorry. All right. Once I get on the thing, I can get around pretty quick. Brian, I'm sorry I missed your retirement party. I've told about 6 different stories about how this happened, but someone a couple weeks ago was defaming you, and so I kicked him so hard. I broke my leg.
This morning.
I was trying to think of something unique to say because I know that there's 15 people up here and a lot of others that are going to say a lot of great things about you, and there are a lot of great things to say about you. But you and I appreciate history, and we've kind of connected on stories about history, and I was thinking about Cincinnatus. And Cincinnatus was a Roman general and soldier who could have stayed a dictator forever if he wanted to, but he loved his community so much, he loved his family, and he knew when it was time to pass the torch. And I think you are our modern-day Cincinnatus here in Calcasieu Parish, because you love this community, but also know you love your family. And so I want to say to you, thank you for the time, the dedication that you've put in, but also thank you for knowing that it's not just about you, it's about this community, and I know you've always felt that way. And to Edith and Andrew, I really am excited that y'all are going to have some time together, more time together. I know you've always made time for your family, but in roles like what we have, sometimes it does prevent you from doing everything you want to do. And so I'm excited that right now you are going to have that next chapter. And I thank you for making a difference. You've made this community a better place. So thank you, Brian. Appreciate you. And I'm going to let Mr. President, if I may, because he's my ride, I'm going to let John Cardone say a couple words, if that's all right.
Certainly.
Thank you, sir.
Keep it real brief. Brian, I just want to say I've had the opportunity to work with you, I guess, most of your 30 years with the parish, and it's really been a privilege. And a lot of what has been said about you, your integrity and your professionalism, goes a long ways. And you can hear about the people in this room, what they say about you. But I want to say from the other side, working for the city and us being able to work with you, work with the parish, it's been a tremendous benefit to me. And I appreciate that. I appreciate your professionalism, and I appreciate your friendship. And I can say that Calcasieu Parish is in a better place because of Brian Beam. And we thank you for that, Brian. And I know, Dan, you're going to do a good job.
Brian, can I take a picture with the...
Oh, all right.
Come on, you get in the middle. Come on.
Hold him up.
I got about 45 seconds before I fall over.
Thanks, Bo.
Appreciate you.
Don't fall down.
All right, next we have Mayor Mike Danahay from Sulphur.
Thank you very much. Brian, there's a lot of people here who have known you a long time. I've probably known you even longer than him.
Yeah.
We go back, Brian had just come out of high school and came to McNeese State University and came to Kappa Sigma fraternity, of which I was in at the time. And we spent a lot of good times together, times that I can't really want to talk about right here. You know, you got a reputation you got to keep, Brian. But you've been a very good friend to me for many, many years, all these times through the years, and having served on this jury during that time period. Later on, it was a pleasure to serve with you. There's not enough I can say about you. You're a man, of course, you've heard in here, in integrity, a strong person. I think, like I say, the quietness of you sometimes is strong in itself. And so we're very appreciative of the work that you've done here, and I think that resonates through our whole parish and will for many years to come. You know, I always say there's things that are very important in people's lives, and I think Brian epitomizes that in his faith.
his strong faith that he carries in his life, and his family. His family, you know, a lot of times, you know, when it comes to public service, the family sacrifice the most. They really do. They get hurt by things that are said about us. We, as public servants, let that kind of just roll off of us, but they don't. It's hard for them to accept that. And Edith and Andrew, you're getting back for real now. I'm so happy that you're going to be able to have him around you all the time. And then finally, our faith community. I mean, our family and community, which is what you've done for 30 years now, I think. And so, and being fit the last 15 years as administrator. So we can't say enough of all the things that you've done, and you've made this a greater place. And I'll leave with this. Well done, my good and faithful servant.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, I was going to say, just before you sat down, I'd like to call Mayor Marcus Renfro from Vinton. Mr. Brignac, you can see where this is going.
I've only been mayor of Vinton for 3.5 years now, and but you've always made me feel welcome when we come to a meeting. It's always been a pleasure working with you and your staff. And so thank you for that. I wish you well in your retirement, and thank you for just always being a partner with Vinton. And we're way on the other side, but I've never felt not at home here at all. So thank you very much for all your hard work and dedication.
Thank you. Very nice. One up.
Sorry, Wes.
Next, we'll call Mr. Brian Brignac, Mike Brignac. I know Brian. So, Mike, I'm sorry.
That works. I've been called worse.
Coming up here to speak.
Well, this is going to be a lot shorter without Hal. Brian, it's killing him that he's not here tonight. I spoke to him. He was on the table or the gurney this morning at the hospital. IV hooked up. They'd already prepped him, and he grabs the phone to call me to talk about tonight, to make sure we got this for you. And he really planned to be here. He said, I'm going to make it. I'll be there. I'll be wearing sweatpants, but I'll make it. And then Sue texted me about 3:30 today and said, he's not going to make it. So he's resting. He sends his best. He has many years of experience. It's probably a good thing he's not here, because he could go on for about 20 minutes talking about things. I'll talk about the little bit, from my point of view, when I was a reporter, you always had, integrity's been used, it can't be overused with you. You've shown integrity, honesty. It was always a pleasure to work with you. You're one of the few politicians that were around when I was a reporter that would call me back. You're not a politician, but you're in government, and most, would make me wait a few days. Oh, John left. I was going to look at him. But I appreciate that from the reporter's point of view, that you were always there to talk to us and give us an answer. And yeah, I never hear anything negative about you. It's just amazing. And the parish is going to be less than without you here. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mike. All right. Oh, yes, it's your turn.
Edith gets a rebuttal.
Mr. Gabb, how long does he have?
Would you say 3 minutes?
3 minutes?
I need 7. Thank you. I've been practicing this one.
State your name and address for the record. Position with the parish.
Yeah, I'm with the parish.
Position he had with the parish.
1015 Piton, is that where? I've never had to say that in public meeting.
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. This is a lot to take in, so I'm just going to take a minute. And Thank you all so much for your comments. I know some folks had to leave, but for the ones that stayed, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President, members of the jury. I do have some comments, but first, I do want to recognize my family members who are here, and I appreciate that greatly. Some of you have pointed them out already, but they're on the second row. My wife, Edith, is here. And our son, Andrew. And I have a favor to ask you, Mr. President. If he fills out a blue slip, can you deny that request? Because since Friday night, that's all anybody's talking about. Because he's a natural. He's very good on the fly, and y'all saw that firsthand. My father, to their left, is here, Jim Beam. Appreciate that. Mike was a good reporter when he was there. My sister, Jamie Fierro, and her husband, Dr. Joe Fierro, are sitting next to my dad. Thank y'all for coming tonight. And I hope I didn't leave anybody out. Is that it? Okay. All right. For these comments, I'll take a little longer than 3 minutes, but I told myself I need to boil this down into a few main points. Many of you will remember the character Curly in the movie City Slickers. Now, this isn't Three Stooges Curly, it's Jack Palance Curly. And if y'all remember, it was a great movie. For those of you who saw it, there's a scene where Jack Palance, who's playing this cowboy cattle drive leader, and he's talking to the Billy Crystal character, and they're both on horses going slow and talking, and Billy Crystal character says, Curly, what's the secret of life? And Curly says, one thing, just one thing, and focus on that one thing. And whatever that one thing is, he said, that's up to you, but do that. So for my career here, my one thing that I thought I want to talk about tonight is earning the public's trust. Thomas J. Watson said that the toughest thing about the power of trust is that it's very difficult to build and very easy to destroy. I believe that statement is true, especially when it comes to the public's trust in government at all levels, including local government. The public elects its officials, and it passes taxes, some of the time, to provide important services. And that's where the risk comes, doesn't it? The people are taking a risk when they do this. What a governing body does with that responsibility will determine its fate over the long term. And this police jury and your predecessors have shown that they've handled that very well, and the reputation is well earned, going back many years through today. In my time here at the police jury, especially as parish administrator, this idea of the public's trust has always been front of mind for me. My approach to earning and keeping that trust comes down to three things. One, do the right things. Two, do them right. And three, tell the people what you're doing. Otherwise, they won't know, and the trust can't be built. So let me talk a little about each one of those. How does a public body of 15 elected officials and over 700 employees decide what the right things are? There are many ways to do this, of course, and y'all can cue the laugh track right now. Mine is strategic planning. I didn't use that word the other night. Everybody else did. I'll own that proudly. But let me tell you why I talk about that, and I really think it's a big deal. In strategic planning, it requires that you listen to the people. You ask them what's important to them. You ask employees what they think. And then you get all the department leaders together and absorb and talk about all that information and come to y'all with recommendations as a body of elected officials to make decisions on. In that instance, when we come to y'all with that, you're not one of 15. You are 15 acting as one through reaching consensus to make priority decisions. Once that strategic plan is passed by the governing body, y'all, it then gives everybody in the organization meaning in their work, all the way down to the frontline employees. because they can then see what their work is for. And if you can see that, if you're a flagger or you're a parish administrator or you're a juror, it means something to know your job matters because they can figure out where they connect in there. So that's why I like that process if it's done right, and we've done it right. Next, how do you do things right? The answer to that question is pretty straightforward to me. You hire the right people. It's not easy. It's a simple concept, but it's not easy. I said this at my retirement reception last week. I'll repeat it here. Department leaders at the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury are second to none in this state and beyond when it comes to running local government operations. They are highly skilled. They are professional. They have strong character. And best of all, they believe in our mission to make a positive difference in the lives of our citizens. They serve as examples for their staff, and that is how trust is built with the public, because the public depends on them every day, as long as the public knows about it. And that takes me to my last point. We need to tell the people what we're doing. There was a time not that long ago when media outlets covered practically all public meetings and people regularly read the news and watched the news. It's sad that it's gotten to the point where what little news people do seem to watch on average may be incorrect, unintentionally, intentionally. A lot of it's opinions. But if people are going to feel, however they feel about the police jury, it's going to be shaped by what they know about what the police jury does. Because if they don't know what benefits them, how can that trust be built? Fortunately, we have a communications and media team that understands this, and they work with our departments every day to share their stories. And comms and media are very good at what they do. I needed to change my speech today because I learned something yesterday that it really warms my heart, but it's going to give you all an example of the people you have working for you here. Very recently, our communications and media department, specifically Joseph Booth, assistant director, was selected by Zen City. Zen City is an international citizen engagement software firm we contract with, I think, for a year or two now. They asked Joseph to serve as a user expert on a webinar panel in April for the International City and County Management Association. It's an organization I belong to in Dane and Alberto. These are city and county manager types and administrators all over the world. Zen City has a lot of those contracts. So this panel, by the way, isn't 15 people or 20 people. It's Joseph, a representative from the city of Phoenix, Arizona, 2 people from Zen City. By the way, this is a company out of Israel, and they are very good. And the founder and CEO of Zen City. That's all that's on the panel. This webinar is going to be watched by the whole world, local governments around the world. It's a partnership with ICMA. That's who you've got working for you. And they're in every department, and they're young, and they're old like me, and they come in all different shapes and sizes, and it's been a joy 30 years working for this organization. So, to earn and keep the public's trust, do the right things, do them right, tell the people what you're doing. As I leave here, it gives me great comfort to know that this place is in good hands, with all of you as elected leaders, with Dane as your new appointed administrator, and with a staff that is committed to excellence and who cares about those that they serve. I thank you all, and God bless.
Mr. Bean, I was a little quick on my trigger. I got one more guest, and I apologize, Mayor Watkins from Iowa. I didn't see you, so I apologize. So, Mayor, come on up for us.
The senior mayors made me sit on the back row. I hate to follow him up. I just want to say I've not been mayor too long, but for the time that I have been, I've had an occasion to have conversations with you, and I really appreciate the attitude that you have. But I'm going to tell you, one of the things that I find most interesting about this building right here and the folks that sit here, it takes the leadership. And I'm glad to see that this will continue to have that moving forward. I know the town of Iowa has had some difficulties in the past, and there's always been the support, and we do appreciate it. Would you like for me to read this proclamation?
That's up to you.
Well, I would like to, if you don't mind. Please. Okay. A proclamation honoring Parish Administrator Brian C. Beam upon his retirement. Whereas Brian C. Beam, a native of Lake Charles, Louisiana, obtained a master's degree in public administration from Louisiana State University. And whereas Brian began his public service career over 30 years ago for the parish of Calcasieu, of which 15 of those years was served as parish administrator. And whereas in his capacity as parish administrator, Mr. Beam participated in government and leadership programs helping to make Calcasieu Parish Police Jury operate efficiently and effectively. And whereas Brian represented Calcasieu Parish with numerous local, state, and federal departments for disaster response and recovery, facility management, infrastructure, and programs for a better quality of life to the citizens of Calcasieu Parish. And therefore, we congratulate Brian for his job well done and wish him continued success and happiness as he retires and moves into the next phase of his life by spending more time with his friends, family, and extended church family. Now, therefore, by this proclamation, I, Mayor Douglas Neal Watkins, on behalf of the town of Iowa, do hereby recognize and proclaim March 31st, 2025 as Brian C. Beam Day.
Okay, we got to scoot you.
Thank you, Mayor. All right. Shall we? Item 2A, adopt a resolution approving an employment agreement between the police jury and Mr. Dane R. Boland as parish administrator. I have a motion by Mr. Gilry and a second by Mr. Lewis. Any questions? Any discussion? That item carries. 4. It's in the words of Billy the Kid, it's your gang, Dave. Item 2B.
Move on 2B.
Second.
Adopt a resolution appointing Ms. Jennifer R. Wallace as Parish Secretary to be effective on April 1st, 2025. I have a motion by Mr. Stelly and a second by Mr. Andropont. Any questions? Any discussion? That item carries.
Church
No
today.
pageant win?
I almost did.
You almost?
All that and homecoming queen right there.
No, not just yet. But I do want to say just very quickly, I know that y'all are ready to roll on, but I'm a proud McNeese graduate, and I was a political science major, and I loved history. I loved learning about government, And I am so honored to be able to be the handler of the history of Calcasieu Parish. And I hope you all know the reverence that I have for those that have come before me, and I hope to continue that legacy. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the rest of this is boring.
Move on to
I'm sorry.
Second.
Item 2C, approve the minutes of regular meeting of the police jury dated
Motion.
February 29th,
Hold on, 2C.
2025. I got a motion by Mr. Burley, second by Mr. Quinn. Any questions? Any discussion? Item carries. 2D, adopt a proclamation that
Move on,
April
2D.
13th through 19th, 2025 is National Telecommunicator Week in Calcasieu Parish. Motion by Mr. Barty and a second by Ms. Eason. Any question? Any discussion? That item carries. Item 3A, approve
Move on 3A.
applications for liquor and beer permits.
Second. Brian, you approve all the people drinking?
I got a motion by Mr. Abshire and a second by Mr. Burley. Any question? Any discussion? That item carries.
Move on 3B with conditions.
3B, adopt an ordinance approving the following rezoning application, 400 block of W.M. Perkins Road in Ward 4 to rezone from mixed residential to light industrial to allow industrial development. I have a motion by Mr. Andrew Pont and a second by Mr. Bowers. Any questions? Any discussion? That item carries.
Can't leave it.
Item 3C, authorize the Director of the Division of Planning and Development to notify the following property owners to show cause at a public hearing on May 8, 2025 as to why the structures on the properties as stipulated should not be condemned.
Move on 3C, all bullets.
Second.
1, 196 Calcasieu Avenue, Moss Bluff. 2, 325 U Wynn Road, Moss Bluff. 1488 Highway 171, Moss Bluff. 1305 Laverne Road, Moss Bluff. 1449 Laverne Road, Moss Bluff. 6, 4001 Ellis Street, Lake Charles. 7, 117 Cookie Lane, Lake Charles. 8, 7645 Speck Drive, Lake Charles. 9, 5424 Powell Lane, Lake Charles. 10, 228 West Abear Road, Lake Charles. 11, 3331 Carver Road, Lake Charles. 12, 420 Highway 3256, Lake Charles. 13, 174 Ernie Benoit Street, Lake Charles. 14, 207 Orange Street, DeQuincy. 15, 3506 Pine Knoll Street, Sulphur. 16, 2113 Oak Grove Drive, Vinton. 17, 787 Majestic Oak Drive, Sulphur. 18, 701 Conrad Lane, Westlake. 19, 3322 Westwood Road, Westlake. And number 20, 415 Prater Road, Mossville. I have a motion by Mr. Burley on all bullets, and I have a second by Mr. Quinn. Any questions? Any discussion? That item carries. Item 4A, adopt a resolution approving a professional engineering contract for geotechnical engineering and related services for various capital improvement projects. I got a motion by Mr. Abshire, a second by Mr. Barty. Any questions? Any discussion? That item carries. 4B, adopt
on 4B.
resolutions
Second.
approving active sale with utility and drainage servitude and temporary construction servitude agreements for the Belfield Ditch Multi-Road Crossing Replacement Project. Motion by Mr. Quinn, second by Mr. Stelly. Any questions? Any discussion? Item carries. 4C, adopt a resolution approving an act of transfer and assignment agreement for right-of-way associated with the Coach Williams Drive Extension Intersection Connection to Louisiana 379 project. Motion by Mr. Burley and a second by Mr. Bowers. Any questions? Any discussion? Item carries. 4D, adopt a resolution supporting the Peconi Bayou Marsh Creation and the West Cove South Marsh Creation projects for Phase 1 funding from the CWPPRA Task Force. Motion by Mr. Burley and second by Mr. Bowers. Don't all jump at once. Any questions? Any discussion? That item carries. Item 5, adopt a resolution approving the Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire required in connection with the police jury's 2024 audit. I have a motion by Mr. Barty and a second by Ms. Eason. Any questions? Any discussion? Item carries. 6A, adopt a resolution approving the 2025 Burton Complex rental rates. I have a motion by Mr. Bowers and a second by Mr. Stelly. Any questions? Any discussion? Item carries.
Move on 7A.
Second.
7A, approve payment of all current invoices and advise regarding monthly budget to actual comparisons on the general fund. I have a motion by Mr. Andrepont and a second by Mr. Barty. Any questions? Any discussion? Item carries. 7B,
Move on 7B.
advertise for bids for McCown Road Bridge Repair Project. Motion by Mr. Stelly and a second by Mr. Quinn. Any questions? Any discussion? Item carries. 7C, adopt a resolution on bids for Ginger Lane Drainage Improvements Project. Staff recommends the low bid of Hicks Enterprises in the amount of $310,262 be accepted. We have Mr. Smith.
Yes, I know the church been waiting on this project for a long time, but looking at the bids, I think, I know the bid is like 150,000 lower than all of the second person in line. All the rest of them fall in line, but I'm just kind of concerned about the low bid from Hicks Enterprises.
Mr. Wainwright.
Yes, sir. Mr. Smith, it was checked out with the company, and they're satisfied with their bid. They obviously left a little bit on the table, but they're satisfied, and we recommend going forward with it.
So, I mean, do we like offer any type of change orders if they come back with anything, or this is basically the final price for them to do the road improvements for this Ginger Lane?
This is certainly the price for the project as bid. If something does come up, and our engineering team, is in agreement with the change, if something can be made. But again, we're satisfied with the bid. We got it, in this case, a price that they say they can work with. So we'll roll with it if that's okay with y'all.
All right, thank you. I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Any other questions or discussion?
Mr. President, I'm sorry, I didn't catch the second.
Mr. Gilry was the motion. Mr. Stelly was the second.
Thank you.
Nobody questioned it. Nobody wanted to discuss. That item carries.
Thank you.
All right. 7D.
Move on 7D.
Adopt a resolution on bids for the filter number 2 valve replacement project. Motion by Mr. Stelly, second by Ms. Eason. Any questions? Any discussion? Item carries. Let's see. Staff recommends the low bid of Blake D. Hines in the amount of $322,400 be accepted on that one. What'd I say? Okay, it was $323,400. 7E, action on bids for water level monitoring station parts. Staff recommends the bids of High Sierra Electronics, Blue Water Design Technologies, HydroLink System, and OTT Hydromet be accepted. I got a motion by Mr. Quinn and a second by Mr. Barty. Any questions? Any discussion? That item carries. Let's see, 7F. Action on bids for sewer pump replacement parts. Staff recommends the bid of Magnolia Pump and Equipment be accepted.
Second.
I got a motion by Mr. Burley, and second by Mr. Bowers. Any questions? Any discussion? Item carries. 7G, action on bids for hot
Move on
mix.
7G.
Second.
Motion for hot mix, Mr. Smith. Second for hot mix, Mr. Barty. Just fun to say. Any questions? Any discussion? That item carries. let's see, we recommended the bid of Prairie Contractors and RE Height Construction be accepted. So 8A is advised.
Before we jump, I just want to say today was a great day in the Catholic Church. We get up and down about 5 times, but I think today we did it about 10, 15. But it was good. It was a good day.
8A, advised that the regular meeting of the police jury originally scheduled for April 3rd, 2025 has been rescheduled and will be held on Thursday, April 10th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. 8B, advised that the operating hours for the police jury's residential solid waste convenience centers have been changed to 7:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. for daylight savings time. 8C, advised that adjudicated property will be offered for sale on Tuesday, April 29, 2025. Number 9.
Move to adjourn.
Second.